Hey, what's up, everybody? How's it going today? What you up to? What you doing? You have no neutral thoughts. We have no neutral thoughts. There are no thoughts that we have that are neutral. That's the name of the lesson today in our Course in Miracles. Hold tight. Hold on, everybody. Whoa, wait up. Just inviting the groups, some Course in Miracles groups to join in. Oh, goodness sakes. No neutral thoughts. We have no neutral thoughts today. Okay, so here we go as usual. Let's remind ourselves that the Course in Miracles says that we don't have to believe any of this. It in fact says that we will probably actively resist it in some way or another, but that if we contemplate it and use it, that it'll have its effect upon our life. The information is both, there's an element of it that's sequential, but there's also an element of it that is, holographic, okay? So that means that if you get any part of it, you get all of it in some big way. But there is a sequentiality that's really nice too. It's built into the story of your life unfolding, yourself becoming awake, okay? So here we go. This is our Course in Miracles. Join in, listen in, practice together with me here. Somebody, if you're on, I see somebody's on and you write anything, I can't see it because I'm reading it in the comment because I don't have the book with me. Speaking of that, man, split screen. Where's the split screen iPhone? When I had phones that weren't iPhones, you could have split screen. It was so much more productive. Okay, anyways, I have no neutral thoughts. Hey, maybe what was that? Was that a neutral thought, or was it a positive or negative? I have no neutral thoughts. Okay. Anyways, the idea for today is a beginning. It's a beginning step in dispelling the belief that your thoughts have no effect. The idea for today is beginning step in dispelling the belief that your thoughts have no effect. Everything you see is the result of your thoughts. Just try this on. Just entertain these ideas, okay? Everything you see is a result of your thoughts. There is no exception to this fact. Thoughts are not big or little, powerful or weak. They are merely true or false. Those that are true create their own likeness. Those that are false make theirs. There is no more self-contradictory concept than that of idle thoughts. What gives rise to the perception of a whole world can hardly be called idle. A thought gives rise to the perception of a whole world is what it's saying. Every thought you have contributes to truth or to illusion. It either it extends the truth or it multiplies illusions. Every thought you have contributes to truth or illusion. Either it extends the truth or it multiplies illusions. You can indeed multiply nothing, but you will not extend it by doing so. You can indeed multiply nothing, but you will not extend it by doing so. Besides, you're recognizing that thoughts are never idle. Salvation requires that you also recognize that every thought you have brings either peace or war, either love or fear. A neutral result is impossible because a neutral thought is impossible. There is such a temptation to dismiss fear thoughts as unimportant, trivial, and not worth bothering about that it is essential you recognize them all as equally destructive, but equally unreal. Okay, here, I'm going to read that again. Paragraph 3. Besides your recognizing that thoughts are never idle, salvation requires that you also recognize that every thought you have brings you either peace or war, either love or fear. A neutral result is impossible because a neutral thought is impossible. A neutral thought is impossible. Okay. There is such a temptation to dismiss fear thoughts as unimportant, as trivial, as not worth bothering about, that it is essential you recognize them as equally destructive but equally unreal. We will practice this idea in many forms because before you really understand it. We're going to practice this idea in many forms before you're going to really be able to understand it. Paragraph number 4. In applying the idea for today, search your mind for a minute or so with your eyes closed, and actively seek not to overlook any little thought that may tend to elude the search. This is quite difficult until you get used to it. In applying the idea for today, search your mind for a minute or so with your eyes closed, and actively seek not to overlook any, quote, little thought that may tend to elude your search. So for a minute or two, with our eyes closed, we're going to actively seek not to overlook any little thought that may tend to elude our search. This is quite difficult until we get used to it. You will find that it is still hard for you not to make artificial distinctions. Every thought that occurs to you, regardless of the qualities that you assign to it, is a suitable subject for applying today's idea. In the practice periods, first, repeat the idea to yourself, and then, as each one crosses your mind, hold it in awareness while you tell yourself, "This thought about blank is not a neutral thought." Whatever thought you have that comes across your mind, that thought about blank is not a neutral thought. As usual, use today's idea whenever you are aware of a particular thought that arouses uneasiness. If you have a thought that arouses uneasiness, use today's idea. The following form is suggested for this purpose. This thought about blank is not a neutral thought because I have no neutral thoughts. I don't really understand why exactly that is that we're doing it this way, but I think there's something to it. It says that we won't understand this but for a few more lessons. That's what it just said. So anyways, okay, so paragraph number 6. 4 or 5 practice periods are recommended if you find them relatively effortless. If strain is experienced, 3 will be enough. The length of the exercise period should also be reduced if there is discomfort. So, man, I'm going to have to read this one again myself, I notice. The idea for today is the beginning step in dispelling the belief that your thoughts have no effect. The idea for today is a beginning step in dispelling the belief that your thoughts have no effect. I have no neutral thoughts. I have no neutral thoughts. Everything you see is the result of your thoughts. Just try this on, I guess, again. We're just trying it on. There is no exception to this fact. Thoughts are not big or little, powerful or weak. They are merely true or false. Those that are true create their own likeness. Those that are false make theirs. There is no more self-contradictory concept than that of idle thoughts. There's no more self-contradictory concept than that of idle thoughts. What gives rise to the perception of a whole world can hardly be called idle. Thoughts, I guess it's saying this. It's saying thoughts give rise to a whole world of perception, and therefore they can hardly be called idle. Every thought you have contributes to truth or to illusion. Either it extends the truth or it multiplies illusions. You can indeed multiply nothing, but you cannot extend it by doing so. Besides, you're recognizing that thoughts are never idle. Salvation requires that you also recognize that every thought you have brings either peace or war, either love or fear. A neutral result is impossible, because a neutral thought is impossible. There are no neutral thoughts. This is a temptation. There is a temptation to dismiss fear thoughts as unimportant, trivial, and not worth bothering about. That it is essential to you recognize them as all equally destructive and equally unreal. We will practice this idea in many forms before you really understand it. So anyways, okay, so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to close our eyes for a minute or two, and we're going to do it 4 or 5 practice periods. And anytime we notice a thought, we're going to say about our thought. We're going to say this thought about, let's say, gum. This thought about gum. Chewing gum is not a neutral thought. Let's see here. That thought about the moon is not a neutral thought. There are no neutral thoughts. Thoughtlessness is neutral, maybe. Hey? Maybe that's an interesting distinction here. Something to be found. There are no neutral thoughts. all the stuff, all the things, all the definitions, the boundaries, the borders, the stories, the thoughts are not neutral. But thoughtlessness may be itself a thought of neutralness. I don't know. All right, everybody. Ciao.